Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man's Quarter Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. Today, I'll be reacting to my third and final scary story channel, and it's spooky vibes. And the video that I picked out to watch is 3 true Ouija Board horror stories. So this is going to be creepy. I can already feel it. But anyway, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okie dokie, here we go.
I'll start this story by saying, never, and I mean never, use a Ouija board.
Oh, believe me, I'm still taking that advice because I'm not messing with one either. Hearing what these things do, it's like bad mojo. But let's continue.
I'm a big thrift store shopper. I get most of my clothes, furniture, and home decor from them.
That's cool.
I work a minimum wage job, and they're by far the best places to get that stuff on a low income. Well, one day, while I was shopping at my local thrift store, I stumbled upon a used Ouija board. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I ended up buying it. Mind you, at this point, I had never done one before, and have only seen them used in horror movies.
Yep, that's true. Believe me. You may think that they're just props from horror movies, but in reality, they could really do some harm. But I cannot believe somebody would donate a Ouija board to a thrift store. But they do make a good point about thrift stores. If you're on like a low income, they're a good place to find clothes, or in my case, sometimes I find...
When I got home that night, I invited a bunch of my friends to come over and try it out with me. My friends and I are all like-minded, and we didn't really believe in the paranormal. We were in my living room with the Ouija board out and everyone sitting around it. To make the mood even spookier, we turned off all the lights and lit some candles. Even though none of us believed in the spirits, doing a Ouija board in the dark really does make you start to wonder. We started off by asking the board simple questions. Is there anyone here with us? If you are here, how old are you? And stuff like that. In every question we asked, we would watch the planchette move to yes or no. Even when it moved, I knew in my heart it was just us collectively moving it together.
Yeah, sometimes friends will just mess with each other and make the planchette move, and it will cause somebody else to think that it's actually moving without them even putting force into it. But I wouldn't play around like that.
When we asked the board, are you a good spirit? The planchette moved to no. Once it went to no, we all heard this loud crack. I looked up and saw that my front living room window had this massive crack, almost like someone had thrown something at it. We all tried to laugh it off as some kind of crazy coincidence, but something really felt off. And eventually, my friends all got tired and ended up leaving. I took the Ouija board and put it in my game closet, which was in my upstairs hallway.
Oh, don't tell me that you guys forgot to close the circle out, because you're supposed to say you're leaving and put your fingers on the planchette and just circle it. And that's supposed to close out what you're doing. But I cannot believe you would say, are you a good spirit? Because obviously the bad ones would be drawn to communicating with you on that board. I mean, once you saw that big crack in the window, that ain't no coincidence. That's a sign to not be taken lightly.
Later that same night, I woke up to a loud noise. I live alone, and I'm single, so this was very alarming. I was in my room, and I turned on my lights. I got out of my bed, only to find the Ouija board sitting at the foot of my bed. Guys, I cannot explain this at all. And what was even worse, on my floorboards, I saw these odd footprints. Not like a man's footprints, but almost like animal hoofprints.
Oh crap, you just conjured up a demon. Because demons are always characterized with hoofs. Take that Ouija board out of your house and throw it in the garbage, or either burn it. Then you know all this will stop it then.
It led into my bedroom from the hallway and stopped at where the Ouija board was. And at that point, I was taking no chances. I grabbed the Ouija board and took it out to my trash cans that night. And I seriously have never believed in the paranormal or spirits, but I truly cannot explain how the Ouija board ended up in my bedroom, and I sure as hell cannot explain those footprints. I haven't experienced anything since I've gotten rid of it. Please, never do one, guys.
Yeah, like this person said. But that would be creepy that the Ouija board ended up in your bedroom instead of the game closet. But when you saw hoofprints leading towards that area, it's almost like that demon wanted to still keep talking with you, but you stopped. But I'm glad you throwed it out in the garbage and nothing else had happened to you. But this is why you don't mess with these things, because you never know if you conjure up a good spirit or a bad spirit, especially like a demon or the demon that's attached to this board called Zozo, because then you'll be in a lot of trouble. But anyway, let's get to story number 2.
Back in 2020, when the pandemic had just hit, me and my good friend Kenny loved to go exploring in abandoned buildings. We lived on the East Coast of a small town just outside a major city, and we had tons and tons of houses to explore.
You probably live in one of them neighborhood areas that just end up vacant because people move out because they can't afford the place anymore, or it's known for a lot of violent activity. But that sounds like a cool idea, just explore abandoned homes.
We're abandoned in the woods. Why do we do this? Honestly, because we were both jobless, and it was something that gave us a rush.
I mean, I'll check out abandoned houses that are in the woods during the daytime, but nighttime would be very creepy because you don't want to get a run-in by homeless or drug users or even thugs or criminals hiding in them places at night. But let's continue.
One weekend in particular, we decided to check out this house called Old Victorian. It was this ancient Victorian house that was nestled in between miles and miles of trees and overgrowth. And Kenny and I made our way up there. There was a locked gate upon arriving, and we had to navigate our way around through poison ivy and woods to get around it. Once we were inside the house, we immediately noticed something strange. The house was a complete mess. I'm talking missing floorboards, spiders and bugs crawling around, no windows, and just the air smelled of rottenness. Well, we stepped inside to what I was assuming the living room, but we saw a Ouija board. It was on one of the tables. Now get this, everything in that house was covered in inches of dust. Like literally everything, except the Ouija board.
Oh, crap. Well, that tells you right there that whoever lived in that house before messed with it, and scary stuff happened to where they decided to move out and leave that house abandoned and the board there. But if you said everything in the house was covered in dust except the board, that tells you right there that the energy around that Ouija board is still active to where dust don't even stick to it. Don't go near it or even touch it.
The board had no dust and almost looked as if it was brand new, like someone had just placed it there. Being the idiotic morons that Kenny and I were, we initially didn't wonder why it looked brand new, but instead went over to it so we could use it.
Of course you would.
We both grabbed the planchette, and the first question we asked was, "Are there any spirits here with us?" The planchette then moved to the word, "Yes," but we both knew that it was both of us, just messing around. However, once it moved to yes, from upstairs, we heard this crashing sound. It almost sounded like a dresser or some kind of large furniture had fallen over.
See? You mess with Ouija boards, spirits will get strong enough to knock over furniture in the house. But just to show that you're two are not messing around. This is serious.
I'll be honest, up until this point, I was having a good time. But when we heard that noise, that was the first time I had thought that maybe we weren't alone in this house. I was explaining my concerns to Kenny, but he called me a bitch and said we need to go upstairs to check it out.
I'll be like, heck no, bro. I don't care if you call me a B word or not. That's something we need to take as a warning to get out of here. But if you want to be Mr. Tough Guy and go look up there, go right ahead.
So we did. We climbed the extremely dangerous stairs and made it to the second floor. We walked into one of the rooms that we assumed the noise had come from. It appeared to be a bedroom. We were walking around the room, trying to find what could have caused that noise, when Kenny yelled out loud. He was standing in front of an old, cracked mirror that was hanging on the wall. I walked over to him, about to ask him what was wrong, when I saw it. On the mirror, written in what I thought was mud, was Kenny's name and mine. Kenny looked at me with this terror on his face that I have never seen before.
Uh-huh. You the one that wanted to check it out. I would take that as a sign like that spirit wants you to gone, like deleted from this earth. If you don't get out of that house right now. Whew, that just gave me chills, just hearing that.
Before we could process how in the hell both our names were written on that mirror, we heard this heavy breathing. It was rattled and shaky, like someone who had smoked cigarettes for their entire life. There was a closet in the back part of the room. We turned around and we heard the breathing, and it sounded like it was coming from inside the closet. We both stood there paralyzed with fear until reality snapped me back into the present. I told Kenny, we need to get out of here now. I grabbed him by the arm, and we booked it down the stairs and out of the old Victorian house. We ran through the woods until we found our car and drove away as fast as possible. I truly believe we experienced some sort of entity or demonic presence that day. I have no idea how our names could have been written on that mirror, and seriously think there was something sinister inside that closet. We don't go to abandoned houses anymore, and we sure as hell don't mess with Ouija boards.
Well, to be honest with you, you can still go check out abandoned places, but just don't go into any that you see a Ouija board again, because if you do, you'd be like, that's a sign to not touch it, get out. And trust me, you don't need no explanation. You probably just awakened a demon that was residing in that house when the last family or whoever was living there played with that board, and they know who you were, and they wrote your names to scare you. But thank God nothing happened to them once they got in their car and took off, because I was just thinking that if they messed with the board, someone in their family would have got hurt, and you definitely don't want that to happen. Man, that's creepy.
So, this story happened when I was 17 and my sister was 13. My parents had gone away for the weekend, leaving me in charge of my sister and the house while they were gone. My sister and I always had a good relationship, and we usually played games and talked about life together. While my parents were away, my sister came into my room and asked me a question that isn't asked that often. She asked, "Do I want to play a Ouija board?" This really caught me off guard. My parents were very religious, so anything like a Ouija board or demonic stuff like that was strictly banned from our house.
Exactly. Your parents know better about this stuff because it's related to conjuring up evil spirits that might get attached to you. Just tell your friend, no, definitely don't want to mess with that.
I asked my sister, "Where did you get it?" She said her friend had let her borrow it to see if anything scary would happen. As much as I wanted to abide by my parents' rules and be a good role model for my sister, the curiosity of what a Ouija board could do overrode all of that. And I told my sister, yes, we can do it, but you have to swear not to tell Mom and Dad. She swore to it. We went into the living room, and my sister laid the Ouija board down on the coffee table. Mind you, it was late at this point. I think around 10:30 at night. It sounds dumb, but we honestly had no idea how to use it.
Really? You guys didn't watch no YouTube videos of people doing it? So if you don't know how to use it, don't even mess with it. Simple. Because if you do figure out how to make this work and you release something evil in the house, your parents are going to be furious.
So I had to grab my phone and Google how to. Once we got the general idea, we both placed our hands on the planchette and started asking the board questions. We asked if there were any spirits living in the house with us. Nothing. The planchette did not move. I then asked, are there any secrets you can tell us? Again, nothing. This went on for maybe another 20 minutes, but the planchette remained still, and there was no paranormal activity that we could detect. We both thought that it was kind of stupid, and decided to call it quits. I reminded my sister again to never tell Mom and Dad that we did the Ouija board before we both went off to bed for the night. Later that same night, I was fast asleep in my room when my sister suddenly burst in. She was very upset and almost on the verge of crying. I grabbed her shoulders and asked her what's wrong. My sister said she woke up to this noise she heard downstairs, almost like someone was walking around. She went downstairs to investigate further, and when she did, every single window and door in our house was wide open. I didn't want to believe her, but that's when I saw both my bedroom windows were open. I got out of bed and made my way downstairs.
Mm-hmm. You didn't think it was working right then, but now you just conjured up something. Even though it didn't make you guys move the planchette. But that would be creepy just to have the sibling run into your room and say that all the doors and windows were just wide open. Because if someone was breaking into your house, it'd be one window or door open, not all of them. So you better close them quickly and get rid of that board.
My sister was right. Every single window and door was open. I even checked the bathrooms, and those windows were open too. We quickly shut and locked every door and window. Now get this. I told my sister to bring the Ouija board to me, and when she did, there was this massive burn right in the center of the board that was not there when we originally had used it. I told my sister the first thing she does tomorrow is to get rid of that board and to never bring it back into the house. We both ended up sleeping in the living room because we were both so terrified to sleep alone for fear that something else might happen in the middle of the night. When my parents came home, we said nothing about the windows and doors. And even to this day, our parents don't know about the strange activity that happened. And I guess at this point, I am a believer of the paranormal and the spirit world, because I simply cannot explain how and why that had happened to us. So if any of you are planning to use one, please know that you are dealing with spirits and entities that exist outside this natural world. Thank you for listening, and please stay safe.
Well, they did the right thing and not say anything to their parents about all this. and getting rid of that Ouija board. But I had a feeling that if they saw a burn mark in the center of the board and all the windows were open up as well as the doors, that was probably a sign showing you that the spirits were mad that you didn't wait for them to communicate and just thought the whole thing was stupid. But it ain't. It's legit. I haven't played one myself and I never will because I don't want no bad mojo or spirits attaching to me. But listen to all these other stories, including this one, should already give you enough shivers down your spine to not even touch that stuff. But it'll definitely make you a believer in the paranormal, that's for sure. I'm just glad that they didn't get hurt physically and didn't experience anything else after the board was out of the house. But anyway, I hope you all enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more spooky vibes related content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Core channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and that's a wrap. Have a nice day, y'all.